Coach, Thursday, what did you see as big takeaways from that game where you guys really competed in the first half and kind of let it go in the second half?
Yeah, no,
Really a lot of positives?
yeah, I thought for 3 quarters actually. I thought we were going into the fourth quarter. We showed the series yesterday at the team meeting, and we had 2 minutes left in the third quarter. We were getting ready to go in for a 19-17 ideally score, and we just couldn't put it in the end zone. And I think, it's 3 to 5 plays in that game where it could have been a different story. I really liked our energy. It's a 12-hour trip. It's not an easy thing to do, and our guys went down there, and it was hot, and something that was different to us, and I thought our guys handled it really, really well. And we've got to be able to just play a full 4-quarter game to be able to finish out those drives, finish out those series, and give ourselves a chance in the fourth quarter to be able to put a complete game together. I think going along with that, the good plays were really good. Like, there were some really good execution plays that we performed, and then the bottom plays were like really bad. We shot ourselves in the foot. We had really poor penalties that were just self-inflicted, and we just did some really untimely things that kind of hurt us. And so, lot to build on, and yet you'd like to be able to, see it on the scoreboard a little bit better than that.
As I'm sure you expect to be in more of these games and trying to win tight games, later on this season, how do you coach them up to be able to put yourself in the best position to win?
Right.
Some of these tight games?
Yeah, it's a great question. It's a great concept, and I don't know if there's an exact science to it, but you got to continue to show them those situations and help them to believe and see what we are capable of doing. And I think they all saw it. They see, like, oh man, like, we missed a block here, we didn't finish a block downfield there, we were out of position here on this coverage, and it's just 1 or 2 guys here and there. And in the game of football, it's 11 guys. You got to have all 11 doing your job every single play, and you don't know when those 3 to 5 plays are going to pop up. And so you got to be ready, and you got to make sure that every play is important, and you're playing your best, and you're locked in and focused. And we just need the maturity factor to kick in. My message, kind of going along with that, was you become a mature team when you want to do the things you need to do, right? And so instead of guys kind of, maybe 85% in it, and maybe coach won't notice, maybe it's not my fault, maybe I don't take the blame, you got to want to do things better and better all the time and be able to do the things it takes for all 11 guys to be successful. So when we can get to that point, I think it's going to really take off and be a lot better than what it is.
You've seen lacrosse before. I think you played last year.
Yeah, did.
So what do you learn about them from last year to try to make things go better this year?
Yeah, I think they're going to be a consistent program. I think they're going to be consistent with what we saw last year. I think they're a really high-effort football team. They're good. I think they've got capable guys at positions. But that's not the issue, right? Like, every opponent is going to be tough for us this year. Like, our issues are internal. And if we don't get better at blocking, at tackling, at sprinting full speed to the whistle, at lining up correctly, then it doesn't matter what color jersey the opponent wears or how big or fast or strong they are. We just got to make sure that we're getting better and we're improving week to week. And I do feel like we are. I really liked our energy at practice last night. Something I love about our team right now, they are going where we're leading them. They're willing to take on messages, and there's a ton of buy-in. And, for almost half the team being first-year guys, that's a really good sign, And I think we just got to keep leading them in the right direction, and we got to have the older guys, sending great messages and setting the tone. And, I think we're on our way. It's just, obviously everyone is impatient when it comes to the scoreboard and what happens when the clock turns 0. But I really like where we are, and I think we're in a positive place. It's just, we want to see it come to fruition here eventually.
I think Aiden only threw the ball 17 times
Mm-hmm.
on Thursday. Was that part of the plan that, it was going to be run heavy, and do you expect more of that going forward?
Yeah, I think we want to establish the run. I think we were able to do that better on Thursday night than in week 1. We do want to give Aiden the opportunity to throw the ball. I don't think it's something that we're trying to shy away from the pass. I think it's a little bit on Thursday night, we were trying to just take what they were giving us a little, offensively. And, I think we do want to establish the run. That's going to be really important for us. And, we just got to be patient and try to take what they give us and try to execute, what we see out of their defenses. And so Aiden's very capable. He's still growing. He's still learning too. And, he saw film and was able to see some things that he probably could have done better. But I think going forward, we're confident in him, and yet we're going to still find ways to be productive in any way we can be.
How can your defense grow going forward,
Mm-hmm.
giving the offense a better chance to stay in a game and
Yeah.
win a game?
Yeah, I think defensively, I would describe us as we were sloppy on Thursday. Whereas week 1 versus Duluth, I thought, man, we were lights out for the first half. And then I think we kind of wore down and we just didn't play complementary football. Thursday night, we were really good against the run. If you look at that, we were great against the run, and yet we were sloppy in coverage things and we gave up big plays. I think that's how I describe our defense from Thursday. It was just too sloppy. We got to clean up some of those bigger plays that we allowed and make sure guys are in better position and understand the intensity that comes along with every play. It's like the series I'm talking about going into that fourth quarter right there. We don't score the touchdown offensively. We come back defensively and, we give up a couple plays right there, and then bam, all of a sudden, they hit a touchdown, like 25 yards or whatever it was. And it's just like in a matter of 8 plays, we didn't score the touchdown. We had to settle for a field goal, and we gave up another touchdown. It's a major swing right there. And so defensively, we just got to be much sharper, much more precise, and just got to know, like, defensively, one bad play equals 7 points, and that's the tough thing about defense. So you got to make sure that you're ready to go every single play.
In terms of lineups, you have a lot of people now, but do you want to make a lot of changes in your lineup at this point or not yet?
A lot of changes, no. I think subtle changes. Something that you discuss here, and I know we're on week 3, but you have young kids that are afforded 3 games in the season before you can burn their red shirt, right? So you can still play them 3 games, and they still consider red shirt. Well, strategically, where do you play those guys, right? Like, how do you work them in? How do you get them experience and reps? And yet, okay, hey, it'd be nice if we didn't have to play them full-time either. And so it's tough, right? I mean, that's just part of coaching, though. You got to strategically put guys in where you feel like can best help you, what's going to be best for their growth. There are some guys that we've committed to, though, young-wise, youth-wise, and they got to go, and they're going to make us better. And I think week to week, those young kids are getting better and better, whether they're playing full-time or whether they're in a backup role right now. But it's just, I think as you go along, you got to be able to make decisions based on who's going to help you win, who's going to give you the best chance to win, who's going to help you from the long haul standpoint. And it's just kind of a week-to-week basis.
Just an update on Sam Pfeiffer.
Yeah, he is day-to-day. I think he is trying to push through. He is doing everything he can to get out there and get comfortable. I think it's just taken him a little bit longer than probably what we anticipated. And so today we go full pads, and we'll see kind of what that looks like. And, I think he felt good after yesterday, but, there's a confidence level that you got to come back with from an injury. And so hopefully today will be good. Hopefully he'll be able to gain some confidence and see where we're at after tonight's practice.
Great weekend for you guys too. I mean, going on the road, starting your season that way, especially I know it was a rocky start last year. Just how good does that feel to, 0 losses in a weekend where you go on the road?
Well, we had 1 loss.
1 loss, right?
Last one.
No, I mean, if you do a direct comparison from the first weekend of last season to the first weekend of this season, the growth is tremendous. Very excited about, having Jackie back. I mean, I alluded to that last week, but it's going to be a constant theme. Jackie is in her kind of swan song. and she knows it, and she's playing at a really high level. The Friday night match started about 3 hours later than it was supposed to, and that can really take its toll on the athletes. And we ended up going 5, and the last set we lined up our rotation, the 5th set, because it's only to 15, where Jackie started, where she'd be in the front row as long as possible, and she got us to a 7-1 lead. Like our setter, I don't know if she set another hitter the entire stretch there, by design, because we had to win that match. And so to win that match and then come in on Saturday morning after a short rest and win again on Saturday morning, and be 3-0 and put us in that position to potentially sweep the weekend was really good. Last match against Mankato, home school. It was their only match of the day. We had played earlier in the day. We ran out of gas. We fought hard, but ultimately throughout that match, we were just making mistakes we normally wouldn't make, and you can attribute it to a lot of fatigue in a variety of ways, which we do need to address. But ultimately, walking away 3-1, I feel really good and just excited to keep getting better.
Obviously, Jackie played well, obviously Megan played well. Were some of those people you were hoping to step up?
Yeah, I think across the board, we did a lot of things different in our preseason this year than we did last year in terms of mixing up how we run our offense, and things like that. And Jackie and Megan are our pillars, but Allie Barlow, our sophomore setter, did a phenomenal job distributing the ball across the net. I thought our 2 main defenders, and Lisa Haugen and Kaylee Barlage, did a really, really good job. Kaylee especially is now kind of sort of a part of our offense, even though she's a defensive player, and she did a really nice job during that time. And a few times we threw a freshman in, Maddie York, during our Truman State match, and she did phenomenal in that role as a freshman. And we had a temporary injury with Kaylee, so Lauren Cardwell, one of our defensive specialists, had to play for 1 point, literally, and she went in and just passed the ball perfectly in that moment. And that really gives us a lot of faith that at any moment we can call someone else's number when we need them, and that they'll be prepared and they'll execute, get the job done. And with that roster of 20, having a lot of options, but making sure they're mentally prepared for that moment is a challenge. But I think we rose to that challenge, and I think I said this last week, but I think there's going to be every week somebody new you guys are going to be wondering about because they hadn't played, but it's just because people are earning opportunities day in and day out in the practice gym.
You expressed a lot of confidence in Allie in the preseason. What do you think of her overall performance this weekend?
She was great. There was one moment Friday night in that 5-setter against Truman State where you could see her being a little tentative. In order to be an effective offense, you have to be able to run a fast tempo. So like getting that ball out of the setter's hands and getting it to the antenna as quickly as possible so the block can't set up. And she got a little tentative, I think, afraid to make a mistake. And we had talked about it and we addressed it in that next match. She was excellent again. And so the thing that's fun about someone like Allie, who is so coachable but still a sophomore, is she has this super high ceiling, and we just got to keep working at developing her as an athlete and as a leader, but she showed me nothing but positive things, and her ability to make a mistake and then bounce back or learn from that mistake and not make it again gives us a lot of confidence that she's going to be running this offense for a while.
Other girls jacked up for Thursday, playing in a new arena. I think as somebody like Jackie playing in her 5th year, used to the old style, but now,
Yeah.
probably going to have this big environment.
Yeah.
With a big crowd on Thursday. Are they really excited? Are you excited?
I am equally excited for Thursday night as I am for Friday morning, right? Like the excitement and anticipation going into this match is palpable around the building, around the community. And I just get nervous. I want to perform for these people. I think the hardest part, and I've said it quite a few times in my time here, is, I put a lot of pressure to perform, not just because it's my job, but because there is this level of support behind us that we want to make sure that we're putting on a show for these fans that take their time to be there. And so for this particular match being the first match in abandonment, we're doing a rededication before that match. And I want to put on a show. I want to win for these fans. And so I think the girls are really excited. The girls are really excited. They don't get caught up in the stuff that I do, which is a good thing. And so we want to perform. It's a really big match. The opponent, Finley, is in our region, and so there are NCAA tournament bid implications in this match. And so for us to perform and ultimately get a win would be really huge for that. A loss is not going to derail it, but a win would really kind of boost us in a way. And so I'm excited to watch people walk in the door and see what that space is about, to be honest with you, because going through the day in and day out adjustments that we have as coaches or people working on the project, I don't think have a full appreciation for what people are going to experience when they haven't seen any of that until they walk in the door. And so I'm excited about that energy, and ultimately, when 5 o'clock hits and that first serve starts, the dimensions of the court are the same as the dimensions they were in Mankato, and so we ultimately just got to perform and do our job. And I think yesterday's practice, if that was any indication of where we're going to be on Thursday, I'm feeling really good because 3-1 is fine, but they want to be 4-1. And so what are we doing between that last serve on Saturday to the first serve on Thursday to better ourselves and be prepared for that moment?
Similar to Mike, the fact that this week went better than last year this week.
Mm-hmm.
And I would think that smile is not fake. You're happy with how things went.
Yeah, for sure. I don't really want to refer to last year much more, because it's obviously a completely different group. But yeah, the cultural signposts are there, and the leap that these guys have made, not just in a footballing standpoint, but our mentality, our discipline, our fight. The cultural signposts are there, and we have the receipts. I'm not going to show you two. They're pictures that we've got and videos of the guys off the field that show that the spirit, the energy, the fight is there. And I told you guys last week, the first thing I was going to check after the game was the spirit, was the bench, was the camaraderie. The score was going to be reflective of where we are from a soccer standpoint, but from a cultural standpoint, that was the most important for me. And that was the biggest thing of the weekend, was our culture is very, very strong. The guys are fighting for each other. They're having fun. And that's a great place to be, because then you can really start to take some steps forward from a tactical sense.
Tommaso, you put a lot down in this year.
For sure.
Same captain.
Yeah.
He shows up in the box score a couple times.
Yeah.
How did he demonstrate, being a true leader this weekend?
Oh, it's unbelievable. It's hard to put into words. You'd have to know Tommaso and know his path and witness his injury and how much that affected him, and not being able to practice all winter in Marquette and watching his team practice and being the captain that can't actually produce on the field. That's a very difficult thing for any human being, much less a young man. And so for him to go through that and then to score the type of goal that he did, it's an amazing feeling that, as a coach, you can't really put into words. So I'm just so proud of him for not only his performance, but his leadership, his commitment to the program. He's demonstrating to the young players that this is how it works. You work hard, you're resilient, you build good relationships, you're going to be rewarded. And for him to solidify that with that type of performance, but the goal was great, but his whole performance, he put in 3 or 4 amazing crosses, could have had a couple other goals. But his inspiring nature of his game was phenomenal, and I think that's what's leading the group right now. So I'm so proud of him and the rest of the guys. But yeah, that was a special moment for him for sure.
What did you see from your team when you guys had leads and are
Yeah.
trying to hang on to those and close out these games? What was good there when you guys were up and trying to keep it that way?
Yeah, I think that's also a very important thing. We had a couple preseason games where we were winning, 1-0 late and score a late goal, and so we got to practice those moments, and they're difficult. Managing a 1-0 lead at halftime is difficult on the road, and so what we saw was, number one, they were fit. The second half against Quincy, we're up a goal on the road. At no point did we start to drop and say, hey, we're going to just try to see this out. They kept going, and they found another gear, and they started to really connect passes. So it showed that, one, they can manage the moment and the emotions, and tactically those situations that become a little bit different when you're up a goal, but the fitness and the ability to start connecting passes while the other team started to fade. And then to get that clinching goal and just manage the rest of the game. It was good signs, especially from a young team. So good signs, and those are critical moments, and we need that practice because it's only going to get tougher from here.
How do you build now going through the conference, getting ready for
Yeah.
the next season? Where does this go?
Yeah, no, I think we're in this 4-game non-conference schedule where, there's not limited time to practice. It's really all about recovery. So it's 25% of our season. It's that first quarter. So we're just in recovery mode. We're in game prep mode for Lewis, and then obviously Thomas More on Saturday. So it's just kind of building off of that energy is not going to be very difficult. I think it's all about recovery and making sure they're physically prepared to play on Thursday. We've got a Final Four team coming to home. It's our home opener. There's not much more you need to say as a coach. You just got to set them up correctly to go and fight. We'll review next week when we have a week off what are some things we need to work on in practice, because we're going to have more time to do that. But right now it's all about keeping the vibe high and making sure that physically they're able to play on Thursday. So I think there's not really a magic button for that. You just keep it simple and keep doing what we're doing.
The first obvious question is, you get a six-pack right away, and it's like, oh no, are we gonna be able to score in the next game?
Yeah.
Did that cross your mind, or are you confident in your team enough to know that something like that isn't gonna happen?
Yeah, no, I was very confident into the group leading into St. Cloud, and maybe that was part of our downfall there. Believing that that we're just going to show up and give anything less than 100% based on where we are as a program is really naive to think that we can do that and just win. And that's exactly what happened. And I take full blame on it too for not preparing them and not recognizing that we are not the same team that we were last year. And not to say that we are any worse or any better, but we have to be able to handle moments differently than we did last year. And this year we've proven that so far we're not able to handle the difficult moments and have a reaction after that. That's positive. So I think that was the most difficult part about this last weekend was, even after we conceded, I was like, we're okay. This is going to be okay. It's a strong group. Mentally, they know how to deal with it, but we didn't have a great reaction after we conceded, and that was probably the most alarming part.
What do you think was the big difference between Thursday and Saturday with what you saw on the field?
Energy, effort, defensive work, commitment to get in the box, heart, just teamwork, 1v1, ball retention rates. A lot of those little details that make up the big things, right? And so I don't want to say we didn't cover a lot of ground, but we didn't cover a lot of ground quickly. We didn't handle transition moments very well. We didn't handle their center back very well or their front three. I believe the scout that we did on St. Cloud was pretty accurate. And even knowing those things, I felt like we were at a place, and myself included, maybe too arrogant approaching that match. And I'm hoping that that's something that we can learn from, not only from the players, but the coaching side. The staff, too, as well, has to recognize that there's to show up and think anything less than 100% will get us a result is not accurate.
Yeah. But the good things, Thursday, the first 20 minutes, I mean, what was that like? Where they're rattling off 4 in a row and get you guys obviously in a really good spot. What were those first 20 minutes like to see the girls go off?
It was exciting. You know what I mean? It was great to see them execute on the things that that we've been working on throughout training. It really seemed like they were very much up for it. The energy, just the enthusiasm within the locker room, and the warm-up was really sharp. They definitely felt like they were ready, and that played a part into probably Saturday. You know what I mean? And so on one side, it was great to get that many goals that quickly and to really, again, execute on things that we've been working on that week within training. It's just, that's just 20 minutes, though. I'm not sure, even at Duluth, conceding late, I'm not sure we put 90 minutes together at Duluth. We had a good 70, 75, but we if you finish the whole game throughout the entire time, it got a little chaotic towards the end. Mm-hmm.
This Thursday, Saturday, schedule going on the road. How are you guys dealing with that? Trying to stay fresh, keeping the energy up when Thursday strikes and you got to go play a game on the road.
Yeah, no, it's 100%. It adds a different degree of difficulty to it, right? It's not something that we're accustomed to, and now we're home for 2 days and then we're gone tomorrow. And including St. Cloud, And the next 2 games that we have, that's 3 national tournament teams. You know what I mean? And so we did not schedule light this year. We wanted to have a challenge, and I think it's proving to be that way. And we just have to make sure that we're mentally tough enough to be able to deal with these moments. And then you add the pressures academically for these, a lot of biology, a lot of nursing students that are trying to grind through and get their labs done. And that's not easy to make up. So there's things that we're tied to within scheduling and playing certain opponents that we have to do Thursday through Saturday, but it does throw a wrench in some of our planning and how we prepare and how we look forward to that week. It is nice having the Sunday, though. I will say that. Normally we get back late Sunday, and then it's back to the grind on Monday. So it is nice having that day there, though.